Hey, Robyn Openshaw here. Welcome to my Bitcoin channel. And today I want to talk to you about why I'm not buying Bitcoin right now. And you might be thinking, especially if you've been following me for the last 5.5 years since I started buying Bitcoin. Oh my gosh, has she changed her mind? Especially if some of you have followed me. So no, I haven't. I'm as bullish on Bitcoin as I ever have been. And also, I'm a big fan of the dollar cost averaging, often called DCA. So, dollar cost averaging is for people who get a paycheck twice a month or whatever, or maybe you're buying once a month and you just pay whatever price it is and you just set it to buy. And a good place to do that is River. Right now, though, I'm in a very different situation in that since I've been self-employed for 18 years, instead of having like a dependable twice a month paycheck, I have chunks of cash that come available if I liquidate them from other investments. Or so for whatever reason, some money comes in. Well, this purchase of Bitcoin that I am waiting to make, I'm not buying right now, I'm going to tell you why, is borrowed out of my house. So I have a few real estate properties. I sold 90% of them in 2022 because I felt like we were seeing not only an all-time high, but an unsustainable all-time high. And I felt like it went up so fast, like a rocket ship, that it was going to come down. Really glad I sold my real estate. It's really hard to deal with tenants right now. Everybody I know who's dealing with tenants finds it to be a really painful experience. I didn't want to be in the situation where the economy was in a shambles or going downhill and people are having a harder time paying their rent. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm glad I got out of it because taxes have gone up, the cost of maintenance has gone up, the cost of insurance has gone up here in Florida. There's flood insurance and it's gone up after 4 hurricanes in 4 years. So I was like, you know what? It was always like the dream of mine, at least, the sort of the American dream to pay your house off. But then I started to realize like this whole economy sort of works on leverage. Everyone's leveraged to the hilt. Donald Trump made his wealth leverage to the hilt, is leveraged to the hilt to this day. Elon Musk is, the US government is. And I'm like, what am I missing? And my dad told me when I was in my 20s that it was stupid to pay off your house. And I scratched my head about that for years. And then a close friend told me that maybe like 6 or 8 years ago, an MBA friend of mine told me, you're stupid to pay off your house. So I was like, wow, that's like two people who've told me I'm stupid for paying off my house, even though it seems like the responsible thing to do. Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't do anything about it. I was super like happy to have paid off my house and have no house payment. Until it became really clear that 16 years running now, Bitcoin has outperformed every single other asset class all over the world. So I just borrowed 80% loan to value out of my beach house. And what I did is I parked it at River where it's making 3.8% while it sits there. And I didn't want to pay the all-time high of 124,000. Doesn't feel good to buy the all-time high. If I were dollar cost averaging and I were just paying whatever price at any given time, what you end up with doing that is the average. And most people are willing to pay the average. They're going to feel pretty good when they average it all out in a year, or in maybe you're buying Bitcoin for 5 years or 10 years. People are going to generally feel pretty good about that. They're basically buying what they can afford to buy. Well, it's a little different when you're borrowing the money out of your house. So if you can believe it, the home equity line of credit that I got is a 20-year loan with no principal payments. That's right. I'm paying on a loan for 20 years and they never ever apply any of it to principal. And the amount of money I took out of my house is loaned to me at 8.25%. So the interest payment is no joke. Kind of crazy that I'm basically a renter paying interest only on a loan for 20 years. And even crazier, a home equity line of credit, I found out after closing, is not tax deductible like your mortgage is. And it's at 8.25%. So that has kind of changed my thinking. I had set in my River account for that, was it $750,000 to auto purchase Bitcoin at 101,000. I was going to sit here and wait for 101,000. Didn't want to pay 124, the all-time high. It recently came down the day after I'm recording this. It was at 808.5. Kind of wish I'd bought there and may change my mind and buy more like around there. I'm going to still hold out for it to come down to at least 109. That's the highest I'm intending to pay. The problem with holding out is, and this is the thing you have to realize, if you have a chunk of change come available and it's a big amount of money like I'm talking about, and so all of a sudden you really care about what the price is that you pay versus the dollar cost averaging strategy, I'm setting it to probably auto buy at 109,000. And I think that probably sometime in the next year, especially if there's a black swan event in the economy, or people get kind of bearish, that I may wish that I waited for 89,000. I think it could crash down to as low as 89,000 is very, very possible. But do you have the patience for it? And that's the question I've actually been asking of myself is, am I willing to sit there daily watching the price and making it getting really anxious if it goes up to 130,000 or 140,000 and wondering if I missed my shot? I kind of have to factor in the stress factor of that, of having to wait potentially till 2026, hoping that it crashes down to where I can buy at 101,000, which is what I really want to pay. And I think the answer is no, and I'm probably going to set it at 109,000 and buy there. So that's why I'm not buying right now, is it's higher than the price I want to pay because I'm coming in with a chunk of change. And everybody talks about dollar cost averaging, and I'm a huge fan of it. And I think that that is what most people should do. And anyone can do it, even if you're buying $20 a month. River is a great way to go because while your money is sitting in the account, it's making 3.8% because of a partnership they have with a bank. And I'm not aware of anybody else that does that actually pays you like a bank does an interest like 3.8%. That's solid. That's like money market kind of money. I actually think that savings is going to come back and that banks are going to have to start paying us substantial interest on our money in banks like they did when I was a kid. When I opened a bank account when I was a kid, I think I was 6, they were paying 6%. And that was just normal back then. And so, you know, the millennials and the Gen Z, they can't even imagine that getting paid 6%. And so, you know, what that has driven is a more consumption oriented economy when savings are so unsexy because your money loses value sitting in a savings account when inflation is like 3% or whatever it really is. They claim that it's about 3% right now, but you know, does anybody really believe that? I think they kind of cook those numbers. So anyway, I just wanted to share that I'm not buying right now. I'm setting it. You can literally set a limit order in River. And so my money's collecting 3.8%. That means that I'm paying 8.25% and I'm only being paid 3.8% until I buy. So I have to factor that into my decision too. And that's a lot of why I'm not willing to sit here and wait, hoping that there's another chance to buy in the 80,000s. So that's just some of my thinking. It's not necessarily what you're going to do. Again, I think dollar cost averaging is a very solid strategy. Almost everybody is supportive of that strategy. It's a great way to just on the regular set the amount that you can afford, whether it's $50 a paycheck or whatever. But over time, you can really accumulate Bitcoin and escape the tyranny of the dollar, where they can print and print and print more money. It's super clear after the big beautiful bill and spending, what is there, like close to $4 trillion worth of spending in there, and there's more spending bills to come in front of Congress. So anyway, I want to share with you what my strategy is and why yours might be different, but I really hope that you're learning about Bitcoin. We have a Bitcoin Insiders class every Wednesday night. Look for the link down below. It'll give you a free 3rd month. And if you use the coupon code Robyn, ROBYN, get an extra $50 off. So you're basically buying me 2 cups of coffee a week for the learning that you're going to do so that you have the conviction in this asset, so that you feel confident investing in it and you know more about it. If you don't, and if you just go and buy some ETF that gives you exposure to Bitcoin, you'll just, when it goes up 50%, you'll sell. And then guess what? You're right back in dollars. You're right back in the pot of water, the frog boiling slowly with it. It's getting hotter and hotter and hotter in here. So like Jack Mallers says, Bitcoin is those of us who've crossed the bridge, welcoming everybody else over the bridge. Yes, the fiat world is crumbling. The fiat currencies always fail. It's a matter of time. The dollar has lasted far longer than the average fiat currency. I think the average fiat currency lasts 40 years. The dollar has lasted clearly a lot longer than that. I don't know. I don't think it's going to fail anytime soon. I think stable coins are going to keep it alive for probably decades more. It took the Roman, what was it, the dinar? The dinar? A couple hundred years to completely collapse. But I do think that all roads lead to inflation. I think that every bank coming out with stable coins, you're totally going to see that in the next year or two, is going to cause hyperinflation. And so protect yourself, get some Bitcoin. Okay, not financial advice, is just for your education and entertainment. And I hope to see you in our Wednesday night classes. We have a lot of fun. We are a bit of a fire hose on Wednesday nights, but that way you don't have to listen to 20, 30 hours a week worth of my research. You just get the Reader's Digest. 60 to 90-minute classes with me and some other amazing pros. A week from tomorrow, we're going to be talking with an expert on inheritance planning with your Bitcoin. So don't miss it. Get the link down below and I'll see you at class. See you next time.